Bettor props and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What is going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show with Howard Bender. I am Dan Servodidio. Howard's rocking the Taylor Swift shirt. He comes through on the bet that we had a couple of weeks ago that T Swift would be in the building for a Chiefs game. I don't think she was there in Germany this weekend, but
she was not.
She was not.
Hence his miserable production.
Congrats to you for coming through on the bet there. I mean, that's a good shirt. You can wear that.
You know what,
day.
dude? Throw it. Shout out to like Shan Blunt, who started like guiding me through like Taylor's merch store. You know, it was like having a personal shopper almost. I was like, listen, I just need a shirt that I can like wear that would be like cool for me to wear at any time. Like I don't, it's not even just, paying up the bet. I want to be able to like wear it. And she found this nice little like tie-dye kind of
I like that
purple thing.
Listen, I wasn't too upset if I would have lost the bet too, because I would rock a Taylor Swift shirt anyway.
Right? That's how I lure in all the young kids. Oh, come on, dude. Can we talk sports? Can we talk betting?
Let's talk sports. So I'm looking over this betting card from you and John and Pemba from Friday's show. There's a lot of green on here, which I love to see because I know we both have some losses over the last couple of weeks. But yeah, look at this betting card what you guys threw out there on Friday's show. We will get to some Monday Night Football in a sec here, but yeah, look at so the Raiders call for sure. We talked about this last week, I think on Wednesday when we did some early leans, and listen, that was a great call. That was just a complete mismatch. I think maybe the Daniel Jones injury helped with that one, but great call on that one. The Ravens just handled the Seahawks. That was another game we mentioned where it's like, oh, this line is a little interesting, but clearly Vegas knew it would be a blowout for the Ravens. I mean, we'll go through your wins here and your losses.
Well, I mean, yeah, the Raiders was an obvious one for me, especially firing your coach mid-season, something to always kind of keep in mind betting in the future. I'm not saying that there's going to be another coach fired in season this year, but we'll talk about that when it comes. The Ravens, listen, again, they ran the football in. There wasn't as much passing as I thought there would be. I was, I kind of had that read wrong on it, but I knew that this was just, I'm just not a Geno Smith guy. Seahawks struggling now. They've got a tough schedule coming up. Kenneth Walker's dinged up. They're mixing in Zach Charbonnet, and they're doing like all sorts of crazy stuff. And all it comes down to is that really Geno Smith is not that good. So, hit with that. The Cleveland, Arizona game, I said to everybody all week long, 28-3. That's what this game was going to be, 28-3. Then on this show here, John and I we sat and discussed taking the Arizona Cardinals no touchdown bet. And we gave that one out on the show also. I didn't put it in here because I didn't remember what the odds were to it, but I remember that we gave that out. We talked about it. So, that's why I said I didn't want to give it. I said I'm happy giving it out because I say 28-3. And I mean, so I was right there, 27-0. Absolutely love that. The Dolphins, they were waging that comeback. Unfortunately, Tua fumbled that last snap. Obviously, he saw all Kansas City coming at him, and he was just like, he took his eyes off the ball. That's basically it. And that closed it out, but I was sort of getting into it, and I was like almost there. It looked like I was taking a beating in this one throughout the entire first half, but Miami definitely, I told you can't keep that offense down. They can be explosive. So I missed on that one. I missed Jonathan Taylor over 65.5 rushing yards. I should have just taken his rushing and receiving yards because that one he hit, but the rushing end of it didn't. So I'm kind of thinking about that with, spoiler alert, Breece Hall tonight, whether I do the rushing and receiving or just the rushing. Rushing and receiving looked a little high, but I'll get to that in a bit. Geno Smith threw a pick. I knew he would. Chuba Hubbard over 64.5 rushing and receiving yards. I needed to like the final seconds of that game. I needed like a final drive, this like 4-yard pass. Like it was like crazy. It was dying the entire way, but we sweated that one out. We hit that. Van Jefferson, listen, I'm done. It's it. I'm done with all things Falcons. To be perfectly honest, I'm done with all things Falcons. And I actually kind of warned John a little bit. I was like, I don't know if I can bet the Falcons because he took the Falcons and laid the points and got burnt on that. I mean, Arthur Smith is atrocious. Van Jefferson, like either that dude has an attitude problem or he pissed somebody off. But I mean, to not even be targeted there throughout, to see like red zone looks. You're in the red zone, and what are you doing? You're doing a double reverse to Jonnu Smith, and then you're doing an inside handoff to Jonnu Smith, and then you follow it up with like Tyler Algier. Okay, thank you, Bijan Robinson. So Van Jefferson over 2.5 receptions. I thought it was suspicious, knowing that Drake London was going to be out of this game, plus 145. I was like, bet this now, make sure because it's going to go up, and it never went up. Aaron Jones, anytime touchdown. Booyah.
Another anytime touchdown you hit.
Dude, how about Mpemba? Look at Mpemba with the Jonathan Taylor first touchdown. He was laughing at me because I was like, yeah, Aaron Jones plus 135. John's like, listen, if it's not 3-1, I don't give a crap. He's like, so give me Jonathan Taylor first TD at plus 550. And when that happened, man, I went nuts.
Look at all John's wins. Yeah, he had the Browns in that game as you hit the under. He had the Browns covering the spread, which they did easily. The Packers, great call by him to get that -3 against the Rams. That was also not close, so 20-3 final for him. Hit on A.J. Brown, C.D. Lamb in the same game. Their reception props, Chris Olave's reception props too. Missed on the Falcons and Saints, as you could see there. The Saints, I mean, the Bears don't count out Tyson Bagent, huh? They were leading at times. They were, feisty there, ultimately covering the spread. The Saints got the win, but it was only, I think it was just a 7-point win. So, and then the Falcons. I saw today, actually, before we went live, that Arthur Smith shaved his mustache. So maybe this will make him go to his playmakers more, get some Bijan Robinson involved, maybe.
It is unbelievable, unbelievable that he's not like it makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense. I don't know what's going on internally behind the scenes. I don't know if Arthur Smith just thinks that he's the smartest man in the room and he's got to do this weird shit, but to not be utilizing Bijan Robinson, particularly inside the green zone, you've got this unbelievable weapon.
It's got to be some kind of he knows Algier, knows the offense from last year and knows that he's maybe a better pass blocker or just knows what he has to do, especially down in the red zone. He just kind of trusts Algier more, it looks like. I mean, but the talent, obviously, they took Bijan Robinson early in the first round.
8th overall. 8th. I won money on that.
I know you did.
And look at what they're doing to me.
They're not using them. Crazy. Yeah, and then Jonnu Smith over Kyle Pitts, too.
It's maddening. And again, Jonnu Smith, that's his old standby. He brought him over, from Tennessee. I want to punch Arthur Smith in the face with his face. That's what I want. Bam, 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 bam.
By the way,
times over.
By the way, your Dolphins call, for a second there, I thought they were going to go down and possibly score to make it make it a touch, because it was a touchdown difference. But in my mind, I was like, all right, if they score, McDaniels looked the kind of guy he would go for 2.
Go for the win.
And even if that would have been a cover for you, either way,
dude, that would have been. I was freaking out. I was sitting there. Right, you were. I don't remember. You had to go to a wedding, right? So I don't know. your wedding, the wedding you went to, was probably Saturday night or something like that. Saturday night, I'm at the grocery store, dude. I'm buying bratwurst and schnitzel and sauerbraten and sauerkraut, and I'm cooking myself up this German feast. I'm baking Bavarian style pretzels at 3:00 in the morning here. My wife thinks I'm absolutely out of my mind. And I'm celebrating that whole thing. And wouldn't you know it, man, at 21-0, the Chiefs and Travis Kelce sucks. And I'm just I'm never getting up early for a football game
Yeah.
again, ever.
Well, we got another Germany game coming up next week, so that's another early one for you. I don't think that matchup. What is that matchup? It's not as good as the Chiefs Dolphins.
No,
It's
I think it's like the
Patriots.
Rams. I think the Rams
Patriots
are playing.
Colts.
Patriots Colts. Oh, that
You
a
can sleep through
barn
that
burner.
one. You don't have to get up for that.
Oh my god! Actually, that's the kind of that you put on Colts Patriots today. Like you put that on now when you want to go to sleep. That's like Ambien on TV for you.
Oh man. So yeah, those were some of the wins and losses from Sunday's games. A lot more wins this week than losses, which maybe I should just have John fill in for me every Friday show. But you too, man. I mean, this is like the highs and lows of the betting season, because one week, you could have some a lot more red on the card, but this week you hit a lot of these. So good calls.
Thank you. I mean, listen, that's like you said, it's the ebb and flow that comes with betting, right? Because we start off the season like super hot too, right? And then like lost, I think it was like week 5 or week 6, then back up and for a week and then down. We were down. I was down last 2 weeks, right? Week 7 and week 8, I was down. So I was still up I'm up money. I'm up units still. But like it was getting down there, like closer to even when this week hit. So I mean, yes, this was very, very nice, and it was an ugly slate too. It was a real ugly slate.
Yeah, and I remember previewing it on that Wednesday show, just talking about how all these tight spreads and some of the lower totals. It was tough to make some decisions on those bets. Well, let's keep it going, because we got Monday Night Football tonight, Chargers Jets. And we are gamifying Monday Night Football on the BettorCast app, so you can compete in our free contest, as we usually do on the BettorCast app for Chargers Jets tonight. You can test your NFL knowledge by predicting what will happen in real time. You can answer some pregame questions, but live questions during the game. No purchase or subscription necessary. Always free to play. You can win authentic NFL signed gear. Download on the Apple app or Google Play stores, or scan that QR code. Must be 18 years of age or older. And tonight's BettorCast, a little Bender action for the Jets, tonight, right, Howard?
Yeah, that's right. We're doing a very special BenderCast is what it's being called right now. And I think I can show it to you.
Okay.
I think I can. Let's see. Nope, that's not it. Nope.
The suspense is
killing
me.
I don't know how I don't have it. Oh, there it is. Look at that. There we go.
Here we go. Wow. That's going to be you watching live. I know our producer, Adam Bernard.
That's Pixar Howard, by the way.
Our producer, Adam Bernard, says he's jumping in there to talk some Jets too during the game. So should be fun time. So yeah, get in the BettorCast for tonight's game for Chargers Jets Monday Night Football. Let's get to some bets here. By the way, we welcome everyone's picks in the chat if you have them. So definitely throw them in there. Already got Smokey the Cat throwing out a couple of bets that he likes here. I'm assuming this is a little same game parlay that he usually throws at us. He's got the Chargers money line, Keenan Allen 6 receptions, Keenan Allen touchdown, and Breece Hall over 2.5 receptions for a little same game parlay. I think we both have a couple picks that would favor this. So let's dive right into it. You have a little best bets article over on Fantasy Alarm breaking down this game too and some of your picks. But how do you see this one going?
I gotta tell you, I think it's going. Smokey's parlay here is great. I love this, right? I do. I love even the Chargers money line is, it's I gotta be a realist here. Chargers money line, Keenan Allen with his plus 6 receptions. I love that. Anytime touchdown for Keenan Allen, because there's what people not everybody realizes. So Sauce Gardner and DJ Hall, they don't play the slot. Like they stay on the outside. So, I mean, I don't know who they're going to be covering. Quentin Johnston, and I don't even know who's there now because Joshua Palmer's out.
We got Jalen Guyton back.
Jalen Guyton might be back. Yeah, that could end up being the outside. But Keenan Allen takes like 60% of his snaps out of the slot.
Yeah.
So if the Jets think that Michael Carter is going to be on Keenan Allen, we should be concerned. So I like that one there for him in that one. And the Breece Hall, I mean, he's been catching a bunch of passes. That was the one where I was kind of like I was saying, I was kind of hung up, over 57.5 rushing yards. The over the number for his rushing and receiving was like 83.5. So I'm like, do I do the 83.5 rushing and receiving, or do I do the 57.5 rushing yards? I feel like the nose tackle for the Chargers kind of banged up. Chargers giving up like, almost 100 rushing yards per game. They've given up 8 rushing touchdowns on the season. So, they are a kind of a soft run defense, and you know how explosive Breece Hall can be. So the offensive line, I hope we can kind of keep it together, but that's kind of where I'm thinking that maybe I do just rushing and receiving yards instead.
Okay.
But that's kind of where I'm at. But I'll stay by my call here of 57.5 rushing yards. I won't waver off of that. But if you are concerned about the Jets' offensive line, pivot over to the rushing and receiving. Shouldn't be too bad. Breece Hall's got like over 160 receiving yards in the last 3 games or something insane like that. So.
In terms of the spread and the total, we got Chargers -3.5. Actually, I'm looking at BetMGM Sportsbook right now. It's down to -3 for the Chargers. So a little money coming in on the Jets here. And the total is now up to 41 over under there. So
is it?
Money coming in on the over, money coming in on the Jets here, which I think you are liking both of those.
I got like the magic of Taylor Swift in me today. That's what it is. I'm feeling Swifty right now. Yeah, I've got Jets +3.5. And I put these bets in this morning. Jets +3.5, and I said the over. Now, I mean, it's funny because you look at the over under for, I guess it's 5-2 in Chargers games and like 4-3 in Jets games for the under, and then Monday Night Football is like 9-1. The under is 9-1. But I look at these two teams and I'm like, Chargers defense not that great. If Breece Hall can get ahead of steam, if Zach Wilson doesn't completely crap the bed, this defense is extremely vulnerable, and I think the Jets can score some points. Not a lot, but, some, and kind of just keep this game close with the Chargers. We always know the Chargers are a team that usually plays down to their opponent's level, and weird as that may be, I just think that, the Jets is the Monday night home dog. And then I took the over 39.5 because I think the Jets can keep it close and can score some points. So Jets in the over for me. It bucks the trends, but that's what you got to do.
Yeah, 39.5. Now it's up to 41. So a couple points now moving there. I wasn't going to make not a game bet or total bet, but I would lean the over on this one because, the Chargers pass defense is league worst. The worst in the NFL this year. And I know it's Zach Wilson, but like I still feel like the Jets can have success through the air in this matchup. And then the Jets, their pass defense is really good, but their rush defense is one of the worst in the league. Has struggled. So I feel like, even with Josh Palmer out, obviously Mike Williams still out, I feel like the Chargers can be able to move the ball with just leaning on Keenan Allen and Eckler a lot. So I do lean the over here. And if I was going to make a pick, it would be on the home underdogs too for primetime Monday Night Football. So, and your Jets, gotta go with your Jets. I'm not going against them.
I know, right? I gotta tell you, it's really funny. The prop that I was kind of looking at for this game that I was kind of weirded or concerned about was Austin Eckler and his receptions, right? It's sitting at 4.5. He had 7 last week. So now if you're sitting there and you're like, well, all these receivers are out, so of course they're going to start passing more to Austin Eckler. Why the hell is the prop only down at 4.5 again? I mean, granted, he hasn't gone over 4.5 except for last week, but if you're looking situationally, it's kind of intriguing over there.
Well, on that note, I'm going with his over on his receiving yards. I looked at his receptions too, but I was a little suspicious of that line and the fact that, he's only gone over it once. But his receiving yards, 32.5. He had 94 last week, and that was like, Palmer went out, and that's when Eckler started getting a lot more involved in the passing game. but this 32.5 is just really low for a guy that's now gone over it in 3 of his 4 games this season when he's been healthy. And he had 35 plus receiving yards in 12 of 17 regular season games last year. And I just think that without Williams and without Palmer now, Herbert can only trust, especially in a tight game like this. I feel like he's only going to trust Allen and Eckler, more consistently. I know they got, we're going to see some Donald Parham. We'll see some Quentin Johnston. We'll see some Guyton maybe. But, I just think it's going to be a lot of, especially in the really good secondary, as we were talking about for the Jets, it's going to be a lot of underneath stuff to Eckler and Keenan Allen, especially, Eckler out of the backfield, Allen from that slot spot. So, I'm going with his over in receiving yards. The receptions, you could consider that, but looking at his receiving yards and looking at the Jets, by the way, this year, against, obviously their secondary, their pass defense really good, but they're allowing on average 44 receiving yards per game to opposing running backs this season, and have allowed at least 35 receiving yards to a running back in 4 of 7 games this year. So I think it fits right in with Eckler's skill set as one of the best pass catching backs out there.
Yeah, I like it a lot. I definitely like it a lot. I'll add into the Chargers receiving game because I actually have, and this is, shout out to Smokey the Cat. I had this in here, Smokey. I had this in here first. I promise you, before you even showed up. Keenan Allen over 6.5 receptions. It's minus 130 at BetMGM. And like I said, if they're gonna keep running him out of the slot and they're not gonna put Sauce Gardner or DJ Hall on him, Keenan Allen's gonna eat tons.
By the way, just to not correct you, but just to make sure it's right, DJ Reed is the other guy. Yeah, I think I've heard DJ Hall a couple times.
Oh, did I say DJ Hall? You know what? It's so funny. I'm like, because I'm sitting here and I've got like all this stuff going on with like Jaron Hall, the quarterback for Minnesota, who I kept calling Jared Allen, the former defensive player for the Minnesota Vikings. So I kept doing that, and now DJ Hall. Who's DJ Hall? I feel like DJ Hall's either a basketball player or a comedian.
There's a D'Angelo Hall that was a corner, but I don't know if a DJ Hall.
There's got to be somebody out there named DJ Hall that
I like your Keenan Allen.
Some fashion.
I like the Keenan Allen call here, though. By the way,
there's a football player, DJ Hall. I'm sorry. There you go.
Right, there you go. Is he a corner? Is he a defensive guy?
Former wide receiver. Played for the Giants in like 2008.
I do not remember him. DJ
he went to Alabama.
What? 2008. He played with. He's overshadowed by Julio. Then I bet.
Yes. All right, DJ Hall. Well, you're getting your 15 minutes of fame now, buddy. There you go.
I'll go with another receiving prop here, and Tyler Conklin, tight end for the Jets. I like his over 2.5 receptions. He was held catchless last week, but before that, he had at least 3 catches in 5 straight games beforehand. He's behind Garrett Wilson in this Jets passing game. He's basically the number 2 guy. He's second on the team in receptions this year, tied for second in targets. And I think it's just a nice bounce back because the Chargers, we mentioned that they allow the most passing yards per game in the NFL this year, almost 300 yards per game. And in particular, they've allowed some big games to opposing tight ends. Last week, Cole Kmet, 10 catches for 79 yards. Week before, Travis Kelce had that 12-catch, 179-yard game. TJ Hawkinson earlier this year had 8 catches for 78. And overall, they've allowed at least 3 receptions to a tight end in 5 of 7 games this year, have the Chargers. So I think this is a spot where Conklin can bounce back, especially just with, Zach Wilson. It's Garrett Wilson, but besides that, I think he's looking for Conklin more often than not. Allen Lazard is kind of hit or miss every game. So I think I like Conklin here, minus 110 on BetMGM to just get 3 catches, which he's done, more often than not this season.
Yeah, I like Conklin. He's a good, solid play there. It's going to take Zach Wilson to be chucking the ball a bunch in order to make this happen for you, Servo. So Zach Wilson over 31.5 pass attempts for me. It's minus 105 at BetMGM. I think he's going to need to be doing some throwing. Like, I think the Jets, narrative streetwise, I think the Jets, they start with Breece Hall, they run hard, they try to establish it. Chargers aren't scoring and, whatever, you're kind of worried about them. And then all of a sudden the Chargers just start to get into that passing groove. They make the adjustments, the underneath stuff, and and they end up making it more of a back and forth there. And so on top of that, then then Zach Wilson has to try and compete. So he's going to end up, chucking the ball a bunch too. So yeah, over 31.5 pass attempts for Zach. That goes in with your Tyler Conklin one. And just for funsies here, because, we know that the NFL likes to troll the fantasy community, and Gerald Everett will probably see a bunch of targets, and, Jets are horrible against the tight end. They're like the third worst team against, in tight end coverage. They're horrible. So because of that, I'll take a Donald Parham anytime touchdown at plus 400 for tonight's action. Because Gerald Everett does the work between the 20s. Donald Parham is the guy that they keep hitting in the red zone. Yeah.
I'm sure Mpemba will approve of this anytime touchdown with the plus 400 odds.
Right. I'm fishing now for his approval. What the hell? Terrible.
Well, who cares about, Austin Eckler or Keenan Allen? Let's go to Donald Parham to score a touchdown. All right. So, listen, all these bets are just even pushing you and me more towards the over that we were talking about, because we got a lot of over props coming in here. So it should be, the 40 is just a little too low. If I know these unders have been cashing on Monday Night Football in prime time, but I think we get a sneaky little back and forth game here. So it should be a fun watch. And again, Howard's gonna be on that BenderCast on the BetterCast app. So definitely go and download that, chime in there. You can win some cool stuff over there. Mile High Luke chiming in here. He's looking forward to the BenderCast tonight. So should be fun. Should be fun there. You get a live look at just Howard's pain and joys throughout a Jets game. I love that.
Well, I mean, listen, on the pregame show, I've got some special guests joining me. Now, I know that I can't, objectively assess this game. So I brought in a premier New York Jets fan who has been beaten down over the years enough to be able to give an honest assessment. And then Edward Rouse from Monday Night Rants. He's going to be joining the show. He's a huge Charger. He's like one of 3 Chargers fans out there. So, right. We couldn't get Marianne Doe, so we got Edward Rouse. That's kind of where we want to make that happen.
Chargers fans catching a stray. Love it.
Do you know who should I reveal who my Jets guest is, or should I just kind of keep that to myself?
I don't know. If you want, it's up to you.
I don't know. Let's leave it up to our my illustrious producer here today. Adam Bernard, should I tell everybody who's going to be joining me as a Jets fan on tonight's show?
I mean, we're probably ruining the surprise by bringing me on the screen right now. So
I might have leaked it earlier. I think I said
you did leak it earlier.
Oh, did you? Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the first 3 minutes of the show. Yeah.
Sorry, I was still absorbing the love from my shirt here during the first 2 minutes.
You were.
Of the show, so
nice shirt. That. Really nice shirt.
Thank you.
I know our producer Adam Bernard loves the Taylor Swift talk on this show and other shows and NFL broadcasts. So
if you want to believe conspiracy theories, the Eagles and the Chiefs both have buys the same week, and then you have this it's going to be 2 weeks of nonstop hype for this. I think that was done on purpose.
And then they play Monday Night Football in a couple weeks.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know if I get. Well, I mean, we know Taylor's on tour, so she's not going to.
Yeah, she won't be.
Right? So then it might be watchable.
Is it though? Not if you're a Travis Kelce fan, because if she's not there, I'm taking the under on all his receiving props now.
Now, depending on the time difference, do they maybe have sometimes if a team's on the road in the championship, they'll have the shots at the watch party at the stadium. Do you think there's going to be a Taylor Swift watch party of the game wherever she is on tour?
Yes, I do. And I like where your head's at right now.
I don't have to like it, but I know how to exploit it.
It's going to be the Kelce Bowl Part 2, though. So I feel like taking the overs on Travis Kelce's props might be the way to go either way.
Not if Taylor's not there. We'll see.
No. Okay.
We'll see. Oh, by the way, for Smokey, yeah, Roshan over Bigsby.
And Smokey's
I
also
know
asking,
you know it's not the forum, but it's okay. It's you, Smokey. We're good.
He's also asking Wilson over 5.5. I guess Garrett Wilson over 5.5 receptions.
5.5 receptions. Yeah, I could get down with that. I definitely could. That's not a good secondary. Like, that's the thing. Like, you know, I'm not gonna say anybody can quarterback the Jets against the Chargers defense, but I mean, I think Wilson is Zach Wilson's palatable enough, serviceable in order to be able to do that. So yeah, I think he ends up feeding Garrett Wilson. Yeah, I'm in on that. I like it even more if Alan Lazard is playing, because at least then it'll draw some coverage away.
Yeah. I'm going to take the over on 1.5 shots of Aaron Rodgers on the sideline as they talk about if he's recovering from his Achilles or not. So that might be set a little too low, 1.5.
1.5 is probably set too low. But no, I mean, listen, I told you, home game. I don't want Aaron. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is probably better on the sidelines. You know, it's kind of like when the Steelers made Matt Canada go on the sidelines instead of in the booth, and all of a sudden the Steelers were really good. Like, yeah, I guess like having Aaron like on the sidelines there, just, you know, coaching, like, you know, coaching along. I think it does go a long way.
Yeah, he's basically the offensive coordinator.
Pretty much. Daniel Hackett sucks.
Yeah. All right. How about let's wrap up the show with some college basketball here, because today, actually, we got some, like, you know, games going on right now. Yeah, college basketball corner. We got the college basketball season starting up. This is me, and you know, it looks like a young Coach K maybe in the back there, back in the black and white, just breaking down the film before we prep for tonight. I've been breaking down, you know, the film, the research, because we got, you know, the beginning of the year, if you're a college basketball fan, it kind of stinks because every good team is playing a terrible team, basically. It's just that they schedule these soft matchups. So these first few, you know, days we don't have a really good matchup. Tonight we got USC against Kansas State, which should be good. Tomorrow's like Auburn, Baylor, but besides that, like all the top 25 teams are basically playing cupcake matchups. So besides that, but over on Fantasy Alarm, I have a college basketball DFS playbook for tonight's slate. We got it, you know, it's still a 12-game slate to break down over on DraftKings. So if you want to check that out, definitely go get the All Pro subscription, scan that QR code if you haven't already, and go get the All Pro sub to get some college basketball talk. And over in the Discord chat, we've been already talking about some college basketball DFS strategies. So if you're into college or just want to jump in now with the season starting up, definitely check that out. And I got some betting picks to give out for tonight's games too.
You know, I love some betting picks, but I'll tell you what, like one of the things that, you know, we talk about this with football, and there's always a tax on certain teams, right? Everybody wants to bet Notre Dame for college football. Everybody wants to bet the Dallas Cowboys for football. Everybody wants to bet the Yankees. To me, when it's college basketball, I think like Duke immediately like pops into my head. I know some high school kid, you know, just committed to Duke, and you know, so I've been inundated with that. So I'm curious, like, is there a tax on schools like Duke, maybe North Carolina also, like another big name like basketball program? Are those guys like, are they playing tune-up games, or are they playing games you want to bet?
They are playing tune-up games to start here, but you're right. A lot of the public money is just going to instantly come in on Duke, on Kentucky, on any of these top teams, because it's just the natural inclination. I mean, so actually one of my picks here is Duke, because they're playing Dartmouth tonight, and you know, maybe it's a you know, an ugly way to go, but I'm going Duke here. Give me Duke to cover this big spread, because this is a major mismatch in my opinion. If there was like a different kind of mid-major small school team, maybe I'd consider, you know, not even betting Duke, or maybe taking the underdogs and the points. But Dartmouth is just a huge athletic, talent-wise mismatch in this spot. Duke brings back 3 guys that could have gone pro and maybe should have gone pro, but Kyle Filipowski, one of the top players in the country. Tyrese Proctor, Jeremy Roach, all back. Also bringing back Mark Mitchell from last year's team. But they also bring in one of the best freshman classes. You mentioned a guy just committed to Duke. That's for next year. But this year they're bringing in Jared McCain, Caleb Foster, Sean Stewart, TJ Power, all top 25 recruits according to high school rankings. That's basically their second unit. They already have a really good, one of the best starting fives in college basketball, but their second, their bench is one of the best too now. So just, whoever's on the floor, they're going to blow out Dartmouth here. So 27.5. I'm not scared of the big spread here. Dartmouth, by the way, we're only 10-18 last year. Also, but didn't play any power conference teams, so did not play anybody on the same level as Duke. This is just a massive step up in competition for them. And they also lost their leading scorer and leading, distributor from last year's team. So that's a big loss. I feel like it's going to take a couple of games for them to kind of get used to, their rotation, how the usage on the offensive end is going to work out without their best player from last year's team. So yeah, give me Duke to win big here. Maybe it's just one of those chalky plays, but I don't care. I think it's going to be it should be at least a 30-point win here for Duke.
I mean, minus 115. It's not like excessive juice on that. So I mean, I think it's a good solid bet. Absolutely.
This is by the way, this is a spread. You mentioned money coming in on Duke or these other top teams. On Friday when I was jumping into some of these spreads, spreads were released, and it was Duke minus 23. So it's now all the way up to minus 27.5. Might even go up closer now that we get up to tip off tonight.
Cool. All right. Well, what about I asked you about Duke. I asked you about North Carolina. Are they playing tonight? You got to pick on them.
North Carolina. Give me the underdogs against North Carolina here.
What?
I'm fading the Tar Heels.
Come
Give me
on.
Radford here plus 18.5 over on BetMGM.
Radford.
Listen. I'll break it down real quick because North Carolina, they're returning two of their best players from last year, RJ Davis and Armando Bacot, but they're replacing a lot of key guys. Caleb Love was one of their best players last year. He's gone to Arizona. Pete Nance and Leaky Black, both gone. Leaky Black was their best defender, on-ball defender. I think those are, key losses, and they're replacing them with 3 or 4 transfers coming in and a top freshman in Elliott Cadu. But I feel like it's going to need a few games for these guys to really, truly gel and figure out, all right, who's, the pecking order offensively. Maybe some of these transfers try to, overstep whether they should be above Bacot and Davis on the offensive end. I just feel like it's going to take a game or two to really, get the flow to see what this North Carolina team's going to be this year. And Radford comes in. This is an experienced team with a really talented backcourt. Brian Antoine is a Villanova transfer. Daquan Smith, a transfer from Murray State. They both really thrived last year in a really good backcourt duo. Play great defense, but also just play well off each other offensively. And they both really took advantage of their kind of change of scenery from the transfer portal. And Radford also bringing in a really good JUCO transfer, Truth Harris. So they have 3 very good ball handlers in the backcourt, which I just think is crucial for when you're backing an underdog in college basketball that, when it's crunch time or, late in the second half, they have 3 guys they can go to get buckets to run the offense. So I think that's huge. Radford also plays at a very slow pace. 313th nationally in tempo last year, which I think is going to make it tough for North Carolina to really stretch out a big lead with Radford playing it slow, playing really, trying to play good defense. Last year, by the way, Radford played Marquette, one of the best teams last year, a Big East champ, really good this year. They played Marquette on the road in the first game, only lost by 10, and also nearly upset Notre Dame on the road in their second game. So they're not going to back down from this matchup against North Carolina on the road. I think they're going to make the Tar Heels work for it. And so I'll gladly take the plus 18.5 here.
All right. Radford plus 18.5. Duke, you're laying all the points. Excellent. You got another one?
I got one last one, and this is if you're a college basketball fan, you're well aware of what has been happening with West Virginia. So
Wow.
Howard, you probably know Bob Huggins.
What if you're not a college basketball fan?
I'll break it down. So Bob Huggins, you know the name Bob Huggins, right?
Yeah. Wasn't he was the coach at Cincinnati for a while.
And then he's been at West Virginia. He resigned in the summer. He had a drunk driving incident. He resigns. It was a terrible time for like roster, changes. A lot of their players just went in the transfer portal. They lost the top 5 scorers from last year. They bring in some key transfers, but one of them, Kirk Risa from Arizona, he's suspended to begin the season. That is their point guard. That is like their lead ball handler. So that's huge. They also bring in Jesse Edwards from Syracuse. But besides Edwards, this roster is very ugly. It lacks a lot of depth. It lacks talent. They're going to need to lean on Edwards way too much, I think. And I'm worried about West Virginia in this spot. And to see Missouri State plus 4.5, another spread that's gone down. It was at plus 7.5 on Friday, which I got it at, but I'll gladly take plus 4.5. I think Missouri State has a chance to win this game outright. They're another team, kind of like Radford, but I mean better than Radford, where they're a tough, mid-major team where they're not going to shy away from like a road, power conference team here to start the season. An older, experienced team, deep bench and rotation that just has the pedigree to match up against any other top mid-major in the country, but also against some of the lower tier power conference teams, which is West Virginia. So give me Missouri State here, who also their best player, Donovan Clay, is a guy that he could have transferred this offseason, went to play at other power conference teams, but did not. And he comes back and is going to be their focal point. I just think, when you compare these two rosters, there's not much difference with how bad West Virginia's offseason has gone, which, by the way, with Bob Huggins being, resigning, they have a guy, Josh Eilert, who's a first-time head coach, and he's got to go in. I just feel like it's going to take some growing pains for him to figure out what it takes to win at this level. So, give me Missouri State and the points here.
All right, Mizzou State. I like it.
So those are some picks for tonight. Should be a lot of fun games though. Even though there's some bigger spreads out there, but if you're watching Monday Night Football, want to turn on some college basketball, why not? And then by the way, on this show, I'll be trying to give out some college basketball picks throughout the season, and we'll be tweeting out some as well. But definitely stay tuned for once we get into better games and better matchups to really dive into some of these games. All right, so that's about it for us. Howard, you got another show to get ready for. You got the Bender cast tonight to get ready for. If you missed it, he will be live on the Bettor Cast app during Monday Night Football, so stay tuned for that. Coming up right after us, by the way, Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS live with John and Pemba and James Grande at 5 p.m. Eastern. Howard, awesome stuff. Good luck with all your bets. Good luck with my bets. I hope your Jets win for both our sakes tonight.
Thank you. I'll see everybody in the Bettor Cast app. Don't miss it. We're going to have a blast. Pre-game show, 7 o'clock. You don't want to miss it. And then, all sorts of chances to win tickets, to get free sports memorabilia, autograph shit, like good stuff. Come join us here. There's that QR code. Scan that. I'll see you guys later on tonight. Thank you, Servo.
Later.
Bettor Sports Betting on the Bettor Sports Network.